Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating biology of infant sleep, and honestly, we're going to completely reframe how you look at the middle of the night. If you've ever felt totally torn between what the parenting manuals are telling you to do and what your gut is just screaming at you to do, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it.
So what if everything you've been told about where your baby should sleep is actually wrong? It's a provocative question, right? But we really need to look at it, because the data reveals this shocking disconnect between modern parenting expectations and human biology. For decades, the societal goal has basically been get your baby to sleep independently in their own room as fast as humanly possible. But when researchers actually started attaching biological sensors to sleeping infants, the story that unfolded completely blew that norm out of the water.
Section 1. The solitary sleep myth. To really understand infant sleep, we kind of have to travel back in time a bit.
The evolutionary reality reveals a massive disconnect. See, a baby's deeply embedded proximity-seeking system doesn't know it's in a totally safe modern nursery in the year 2025. It doesn't know the crib is just 3 feet away, or that you're going to check the baby monitor in 10 minutes. To their ancient nervous system, being left alone on the African savanna 200,000 years ago meant literally one thing: a life-threatening emergency. And the wild part? That ancient survival mechanism is still running in the background of your baby's brain every single night.
And honestly, this vulnerability makes perfect sense when you look at their physical development. At birth, a human baby's brain is only about 25% developed. I mean, compare that to a baby horse that can literally walk within hours of being born. This is an evolutionary trade-off to allow the human head to pass through the birth canal. What that means in practice is that human babies are born essentially unfinished. They literally cannot regulate their own bodily systems yet.
So a great way to think about this: imagine your baby's nervous system is like a newly installed operating system, right? And it desperately needs to sync with an external server, which is you. The crucial point here is that your physical presence, your heartbeat, your breathing rhythm, your body temperature, and even your scent acts as that external server to calibrate your baby's immature brain. They are taking constant biological inputs from you just to make sure their own systems are running correctly.
Moving on to Section 2. The invisible stress response. Because what happens when we disconnect that external server? Well, things start to go haywire. A landmark study by Morgan and colleagues looked into maternal neonate separation, and the numbers are absolutely wild. Research shows that neonates separated from their mothers experience a staggering 176% increase in autonomic nervous system activity. That is a massive spike. It's a clear biological sign of profound stress, and it's happening entirely under the surface.
And simultaneously, that separation causes an 86% decrease in quiet sleep. Now, quiet sleep is the deepest, most restorative type of sleep a developing brain needs. It's when the brain consolidates memories, prunes neural connections, and floods the whole body with growth hormones. So, by sleeping alone, they aren't just stressed, they're actively missing out on the absolute optimal biological state for brain construction.
The physiological toll is really striking. The data visually proves that solitary sleepers have significantly shorter interbeat intervals and much lower heart rate variability compared to babies sleeping in close proximity. Now, in biology, a higher heart rate variability is exactly what we want. It indicates a calm, resilient, and well-regulated system. Solitary sleep just strips that regulation right away.
This actually challenges everything we assume about a so-called good sleeper, because even if a baby isn't crying, their internal biology might be in a panic state of high arousal. Sometimes, a quiet baby is just one that has learned their signals for help aren't working. They've shifted into a biological shutdown mode where the stress hormone cortisol just remains stubbornly high.
Which brings us to Section 3, Power of Physiological Synchrony. Let's look at the biological magic that happens when a caregiver is near.
We're talking about physiological synchrony. And this isn't just some poetic metaphor about the bond between parent and child, right? Studies from institutions like Bar-Ilan University have documented this incredible micro-level coordination between mother and baby. Given enough time in close proximity, their heartbeats and breathing literally begin to mirror each other, much like two metronomes ticking perfectly together in time. And the benefits of this alignment are massive. By sleeping near your baby, your stable, mature nervous system is actively doing the structural heavy lifting that their unfinished brain can't do on its own yet. You are literally stabilizing their temperature, bringing down their cortisol, and naturally organizing their sleep architecture.
Laboratory research demonstrates over and over that this physical closeness allows the mother to actively organize the infant's sleep. They navigate the different cycles of sleep together, which naturally reduces arousal thresholds and creates this incredibly powerful biological safety net.
Section 4. Safe proximity in practice. Now we have to address this, because the moment you mention applying this science in the real world, the room definitely divides.
We are just impartially reporting the facts here. And when looking at the data, there is a very critical distinction between room sharing and bed sharing. The American Academy of Pediatrics strongly recommends room sharing on a separate surface for at least the first 6 months to reduce risk in modern settings. On the flip side, researchers like Dr. James McKenna point out that bed sharing can feature that incredible physiological synchrony. But, and this is a huge but, only if extremely strict safety conditions are met. We're talking breastfeeding mothers, absolutely no alcohol or medications, and no soft bedding whatsoever. We aren't endorsing a specific method today, but rather highlighting that the core biological need here is proximity.
So if you're looking to maximize brain development while adhering to the strictest safety guidelines, there are incredibly effective ways to do this. Utilizing a bedside bassinet gives you that vital proximity without a shared mattress. Also, here's a wild trick. Placing an unwashed t-shirt from the mother nearby has actually been scientifically shown to reduce cortisol, just because smell is such a massive regulatory input for infants. And finally, when it is time to transition to their own room, doing it gradually allows their nervous system to adjust without going into a total panic.
Section 5. Building a resilient brain. Let's zoom out a bit. This isn't just about getting through a tough phase of parenthood. It's about the very foundation of human resilience.
I absolutely love this concept. You are quite literally lending your nervous system to your child while they sleep. According to decades of attachment research, starting all the way back with John Bowlby in the 1950s, this consistent, nightly regulation is exactly what builds secure attachment. When a helpless infant consistently receives the signal that they are safe and someone is right there, it actually wires their brain for emotional resilience and gives them an immense capacity for self-regulation for the rest of their lives. So the next time you feel that totally exhausted visceral urge to go comfort your baby at 2 in the morning, remember this explainer. Ask yourself how that simple act of proximity is shaping their future. You aren't spoiling them, you aren't creating bad habits, you are answering an ancient biological call, and in doing so, you are quite literally building their brain. Keep questioning what you think you know, and thanks so much for joining me today.